Hello friends, it's your boy Jacob here, aka Mr. Man that has absolutely not played his backlog all the way through, but is still going to be buying games in the Steam Autumn Sale anyway. That's what us PC gamers do, essentially. We just keep buying things and not playing them. So here I am to guide you through the Autumn Sale to do exactly what I just said. So all of these recommendations are personalized and games that I will be spending money on, so I'm not going to be recommending stuff that I personally have not played or do not intend to play. But with all that out of the way, if you enjoyed the list, feel free to drop a like and or subscribe because it helps a small YouTuber such as myself grow. But if not, that is completely okay too. Alright, so we're starting off pretty hot. Right off the bat, I'm listing my wild card of the year. So it's going to be a video game that I'm going to buy that I'm not fully sure about, but because it's on sale and I've heard good reviews, I'm going to go for it. And that, of course, is the game called Eternights. It's an anime RPG adventure dating sim? I don't even understand, like my brain can't comprehend what they're trying to say when they write that down in a sentence, but apparently that exists. And honestly, it sounds pretty funny. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a bit ironic or not, but I'm going to be diving into it and I'll have to let you guys know how it is. Up next, we have System Shock Remake. This is a game that I've actually been meaning to play for a long time now, but the video game schedule of 2023 was extremely packed, so this one kind of fell over to the back burner. Now that it's on a pretty steep discount, I'm going to be pulling the trigger on it. And this is a remake of a classic that came out in the 90s. And this remake manages to stay true to its roots while bringing it to a new audience in 2023 as you try to foil the plans of this rogue AI that goes by the name of Shodan. It's very heavy on environmental storytelling, and from what I've heard, it is a great game through and through. So this is definitely a must-buy. This next game is called Chants of Sennar. And this game has a really unique concept in the sense that it is a puzzling game that surrounds language. And what I mean by that is your main character is a traveler that's an inhabitant of this tower, they call it, where everyone speaks different languages and you don't know it yourself. And your goal is to decipher those ancient languages and reunite the people that live within this tower. It's based off of the story of Babel, and honestly, it's such a unique concept that for that reason alone is going to be why I'm purchasing it. And this is absolutely a wild card in my book. Up next, we have Evil West, which released earlier in the year, and again, because the video game schedule was so packed, a lot of people kind of tossed this by the wayside, but apparently it's actually a really good game. If you think of Van Helsing, we'll magnify that times 10 on steroids. That's what this game is. It is through and through a textbook linear action RPG, so it's not anything special in particular, but the gameplay, I would say, is pretty special. I think it's always valuable to have video games that acknowledge that their role is to be fun first and foremost and aren't really focused on the bigger picture. I think video games being video games is always a good time, and this really reminds me of Doom Eternal, but in a third-person point of view. And for that reason alone, I do think it is a must-buy at the discounted price that it's currently at. I have 3 words to sell Sifu. Roguelike martial arts video game. This game is just action non-stop through and through. This game makes you feel like a total badass. Basically, the story is you're trying to avenge a group of killers that came after your father when you were a kid. And the roguelike element comes through where every time you get defeated, you go back and redo it again, but your age increases, and that kind of factors into the story. But the main standout here is just the brutality of the combat. It reminds me a lot of Arkham Knight, that series, and how Batman would just kind of brutalize his goons. It's very similar to that, and it's equally as fun in my opinion. I am throwing in yet another wild card because I think that experimenting with video games is very fun. So for this one, we have The Curse of the Golden Idol. This game is a point-and-click detective mystery that allows you to freely search and identify who you think the suspect is. And throughout the course of your investigation of the 12 different murders, you do come across a broader conspiracy which points at there being a larger secret that you may not first have suspected. Up next, we have a survival horror game that goes by the name of Signalis. And if you're a fan of isometric survival horror similar to Resident Evil 1 perhaps, then I think that this would be right up your alley. because it actually has a very enticing story to it as well, which keeps you hooked as you try to progress and uncover the cosmic mystery at the center of this game. Now, Dave the Diver is more of a well-known mainstream video game, I'd say, but that does not take away the indie factor from it, so it belongs on this list nonetheless. I'm personally very excited to give this game a go for the first time. I've heard nothing but positive reviews about it, people sinking countless of hours into it, and overall it just being a labor of love from the developers. They seem to really care about the game that they put out, which is always refreshing to see. It's really hard to define this game because of the wide array of different types of activities that this game has in store for you, which I think ends up being a good thing because it really gives you a bang for your buck. Now, this one, I don't know if I consider it to be a AA game. This one might be bleeding a bit more into the territory of AAA, but honestly, I'm going to throw it in anyways because I was unsure. It is a damn good game that I very much so recommend if you're into the branching story paths and choose your own adventure type of video game. I had a lot of fun with this game personally. I enjoy supermassive stories. Their last few titles haven't been the greatest, but this one does bring it up to par with the level of Until Dawn, if you guys are familiar with that one. So I definitely recommend you guys try the Quarry. I think it is a great time to play alone, and you can also play it with friends if you want to make choices together. Overall, a solid choice. And it would not be my list if I did not include a real-time strategy video game, which is exactly what Alien: The Dark Descent is. This has been on my list of must-buys for a while now, and now that it's hit a steep sale, I'm gonna go for it. I think it looks like a really solid game. Based off of reviews, they've gotten very positive reviews on Steam, so people seem to generally enjoy this game, and that it gives you the sense of dread that you're looking for when you're playing an alien game, as you should always basically exist in fear when aliens are attacking you. So I look forward to giving this game a try. Now, I wanted to give a quick update and recommendation on one of my prior wildcards in another video that I had for the Steam Summer Sale. After playing through this game, I can definitely say that this is a must-buy. I had a great time with it. This is very similar to Curse of the Golden Idol, where it's a point-and-click detective game set in a distant past. Pentiment really does not handhold whatsoever. It gives you the freedom to make the accusations that you want for people that you deem to be suspicious of the murders that are occurring in the Abbey. And the story is really engaging all the way through to the final act. I would consider this game to be a hidden gem just because I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. But honestly, everything is great about this game. The art style, the story, the paths that you can take. Definitely recommend this game now that I've played it through myself. And for the final update of what was also a wildcard in my previous video, we have Friends vs. Friends. After buying it and playing it through, very fun game actually. I got it for $5 and I believe it's at $5 again. This is an easy recommendation. It has 2 vs 2 combat, it has 1 vs 1 combat. The loadout that you have is based off of the cards that you have in your deck. Honestly, very simple fun, and it does get a little bit competitive, but if you're into that type of thing, especially in a first-person shooter, and it's very fun to experience a different type of shooter that isn't just your standard Call of Duty or Apex or things like that. Not that they're bad, it's just nice to always take a break and try something fresh. Feel free to comment down below any video games that I may have missed that you think I might like based off of the list that I also provided. I'm always game for recommendations, love getting recommendations.